welcome back to Examining Life, a life that's worth living. My name is Amanda. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Wisdom Wednesday. First, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and click the red rectangle to subscribe. I also want to thank my patrons. Thank you very much for your donations. I greatly appreciate your support. And before I start today's Wisdom Wednesday, I want to mention that I might be taking a few weeks off because I'm training for a marathon. I might try to upload, and I do intend on conducting a few interviews, so I do intend on restarting Wisdom Wednesdays after the race, which will be mid-October. I will also continue to upload interviews that I conducted here in Paris. And today's quote is from Foucault's Discipline and Punish, The Birth of Prison. And today's quote is, quote, "The art of punishment introduces, through this value-giving measure, the constraint of conformity that must be achieved. It traces the limit that will define difference in relation to all other differences. In short, it normalizes." End quote. In this work, Foucault goes over a history of crime and respective punishments over time. To some degree, what is deemed a crime changes over time. Some crimes are no longer crimes, such as being a witch, while others have been added, such as conducting cyber attacks. However, on the other hand, something such as murder has always been murder, the intentional act of taking another person's life, which is a crime. Obviously, these are just a few examples, and there are a ton of other behaviors that are labeled as crimes. Punishments have also changed over time, such as public execution and humiliation in the 17th century, to paying various fines and serving prison sentences in the modern day. And I have some questions concerning this quote and a few of the concepts that are mentioned in here, being crime, punishment, and conformity. And please feel free to tell me your opinions on the answers to any of these questions in the comments below. Are certain behaviors crimes because we label them as such, and the person doing that behavior did not conform to the society standard? Or are some behaviors just intrinsically crimes and worthy of punishment? What ethical criteria go into determining what is a crime and what isn't? And what's the real problem? The fact that someone did not conform, or the fact that someone did something innately morally bad? And I do think there is some overlap between these two, but where does that lie? What role does interpretation of a behavior play in determining whether something is a crime? One can make a strong case that committing acts that society or a powerful being deems as criminal is not in one's best interest to do, so one should not do them. But this is open to interpretation. For example, take the current situation in Hong Kong. What's best for them, the people of Hong Kong, greatly depends on perspective. According to the Chinese government, some of the protesters have committed crimes by protesting the extradition bill. However, Hong Kongers believe committing these acts are justifiable. They recognize that they have certain freedoms, which would be taken away. Therefore, protesting the extradition bill is justifiable because what is good for them, according to their perspective, is for Hong Kong to maintain its autonomy. Does having written laws and a legal system lessen the amount that crimes are committed? Does written law actually provide justice for these wrongdoings? Obviously, not all acts of nonconformity are criminal acts, such as being able to come up with innovations. Although one can say there is some degree of fear in all nonconformity, because the unknown is typically a scary thing. And when one is behaving differently from the majority of people in his or her environment, then others around them may not understand. There's also a degree of risk, because branching away from accepted behaviors may make an individual more noticeable. Would we have an even more advanced society with more innovations if fewer people conformed? Or would we have more individuals who were deemed criminals? Ultimately, setting a society standard of acceptable and unacceptable behavior is a means to maintain power and control over the members of society. At the end of the day, I would say just do what's best for you, although keep in mind it is generally not best for you to commit a crime. Thank you so much for watching this week's Wisdom Wednesday. Let me know in the comments below what you think about conformity and perspective on crime. And please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Stay tuned every Wednesday. Thank you. Happy travels.